Okay, hey guys, we're working on this Camry, and this happens to be the hybrid version. It is not a plug-in. So if you didn't know, the hybrids have two batteries. It's just a basic 12-volt battery, no different than the battery that this F350 would use. The only thing is that thing uses two 12-volt batteries, and the cold cranking amps may be between 550 and 750. This one only happens to have like 300 cold cranking amps or something. 355, you may or may not be able to see, but it says 355. And this might be a deep cycle. I really don't know if this is a deep cycle or not. It's 51 amp hours. So these cells here are about 8 volts, and they, I don't know how many amp hours each one is, but I do have two more in here, and I just basically plug them in to be in parallel with this cell right here. So this cell right here, so you can kind of see there's a negative here, and so this one is the positive, and you can see it rotates negative, positive, negative, and this one will be positive. So two things that you need to notice about this is that there's really two cells. This is one cell, and that's two cell. Each cell or block contains multiple individual cells, just like a car battery does. In this battery, there's basically 6 cells in this one. Each cell is 2.2 volts, so you get 13.2 volts because there's 6 cells total, 3 on this side and 3 on this side. And so that's how you get your 12 volts in theory. Like I said, technically it's 13.2. 6 times 2.2 is 13.2. This cell here, you have however many that is, cells times 7 to 8 volts, and then you end up getting your 50 volts. So the battery or the charging system is turned off right now, and you can see that it's decreasing, but it'll turn on once it drops down to, like, I think 132 or so. It'll turn back on, and you can't really tell, but the fan is on. The reason for the video is that I messed up. I went ahead and added these two cells in parallel, and they worked great. It gave me like 2 more gallons per mile, and so it was doing fantastic. It's hard to tell, maybe you can tell right here, but the back of that battery right there is warped. So the other day I was driving, I drove it for a good 30 minutes or so, and little did I know that these things get super freaking hot. You can see that there's a decent gap right here, and I believe that this is the cell that's actually the lowest. I think this one was giving me like 6 volts, 6.2 volts. And so look at that, it's is it dropping? It might be dropping a little more. So okay, so the charging system's turned back on, and it's start bringing it back up, and it should be charging about 150. Now I have it set up such that I have the negative on this orange cable, and then I'm back at the end of this battery right here, this last battery, I'm on its positive. So this is its negative, right? You see that it's negative here, so that back side way over here is the positive. So my cable is coming out. My cable is coming out of that battery there, that positive side. And so I'm touching this negative and that positive, putting all these batteries in series and giving me the collective voltage of that battery pack. But what I ended up doing was I left the fan basically like this. I left it all like that, and then I had a bunch of junk in the back of this truck. I've got a trailer that I'm working on. Check out that old 1960s trailer. And so I ended up buying a bunch of crap for it. Then I've got these winches in there, a bunch of stuff that just doesn't really need to be in there, but it's in there. And the battery ended up overheating, so I ended up getting a couple of alerts on my dashboard. And so that triangle came on, and as soon as that triangle came on, the check engine light came on. So let me show you. There's a symbol right here that's like the steering wheel with the exclamation mark. And so let me see if I can get it to turn on. Oh, it doesn't even show it. Oh, there it is. It's right here, that symbol with the exclamation mark. So the ABS turned on, the check engine light turned on, the traction off, and this that little symbol there, the second from the bottom, all those lights turned on. Right now the car is in the on position. It's not in the drive position. You see it says power on. So once you see this right there, that means you're not gonna be able to drive. And so it scared the crap out of me because the car basically stopped moving while I was driving down the freeway. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the brake in, start the car up, and so now we're in the drive position. You can see all those lights turned off. I've got my seatbelt light and my door open light because that door is still open. So once I close that door, that'll turn off, but I'll still get the signal that my trunk is open. All that to say that I ended up checking my codes, and so this code is still there. Let's see if we can go through. And this is a super cheap code reader. If you just want something, just grab any code reader, really. This one happens to tell me it's got one fault and one pending. So let's look at what it is. P0A80, and it says there's two, 01 and 02. So there's two of them. This is the first of the two, and this one's the pending. That's why it's got the P up here in this corner here, because that one says it's pending. But if you look at P0A80, you'll see that that means the battery is not working. So this thing realized the battery pack is no good, and eventually, not right now because the battery's doing real, and I'm stepping on the gas pedal, but because we're in park, it doesn't let me do anything. But if I try to floor it, it just won't go anywhere. It doesn't have the power. I have this hooked up all the time, and just FYI, that's where the connection is. You can see where it's hooked up right underneath, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It can only go in one way. I mean, just try it a couple times. This code reader will light up as soon as I get that plugged in properly. It'll light up, and again, it's directional. You cannot put it backwards. You probably can if you force it, but if you're being gentle with it, you can't. Oh, there we go. Look at that. We've got these lights. There, you see the lights come back on. So those lights all came on, and now we'll go check to see. Let's look at this real quick, and let's go ahead and check it again. Oh, it says 1, the same one. Okay, so PA082. Let's go to the back and see what's going on with the batteries. I showed you that we're at what, 142.8 or something. Oh, look at this, it's charging on 152.4. So that's great. The blower is on, and so one thing we need to do is set this thermostat. Since it's open, that thermostat really needs to be where the batteries are. There just happens to be a hole down there, just any hole. I put that in there just to heat it up and turn the thermostat on. And what I will end up doing is I'm going to take all these batteries off and stress them out independently to see which batteries are bad. I'm pretty sure there's 2 bad ones. Initially, this bank was good, but like I said, it overheated on me and it was sizzling. So right now we're getting 152, 151, and it's jumping quite a bit. So we're having the same problem over on this side, but I hooked up these 2 batteries and it stabilized it. I have not checked to see what the voltage is on this side. So now the charging system is off and it's running off the battery. So I do have the AC on purpose just to stress out the battery pack. Trying to stress out the battery pack, and you see all the stuff that's on right now. And the AC is on for blast. You can see my little dice blowing in the breeze. But the biggest thing I wanted to see was if that charging system is still going to get up to 150. Because prior to me doing everything, it was up at 150 for one side. And then this is another 150. It's no different than a home where you have your 3 cables up there. And if I'm not mistaken, you have, yeah. So you have your 2 cables. You see this left one and the right one. And those are coming off your 2 110 leads. So the same thing, you have 110 and 110. It goes all the way over here. And you can see that there's not a 3rd cable up there, right? There's not a 3rd cable. There's a 3rd cable over there. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, but there's a 3rd cable there. And they actually break down to 2 because one, they go into the transformers. So each of those transformers will turn the voltage from whatever it is, 400 volts, 1400 volts, whatever it is, down to a home's 110 voltage. That's what that transformer is. It transforms the high voltage to a lower voltage. And the same thing is going on here. So we have 2 110, basically 110 systems. In this case, they're 150. Which equals 300. And see all the casing will tell you, be careful, high voltage, 300 volts, danger. But in reality, it's 2 150s. All right, I think I've killed that horse, beat that horse to death already. So I've got these 2 cells here. I only have them wrapped so they don't fly around anywhere. And yeah, they're not getting hot at all. And I generally have them in a vertical position like that, just because this happens to have like a vent. I don't know what these little vents do, but it has those vents there. So I had it vertical, propped up by something, a shoe or whatever. But once it overheated, it gave me problems. So anyways, I'm gonna go and pull this battery back out. You can see I don't have it screwed in or anything. I was just experimenting, and I actually bought some, I have some deep cycle batteries that are 12 volts each, and so I want to set those up in here too and see how that does. So let me take this battery pack out. It does weigh about 50 pounds or so, so we'll see what it does as far as coming out. And it's not screwed in. I just need to take off those two wires there. I think there's there's one little clip back over here that I need to take out. Now on this side, there's that wire there that controls the fan, and it controls the thermostat, and then it lets the charging system know that everything's clipped in properly. There's a little cable in this setup. Where is it? Oh, I Jimmy rigged it so that I don't have to hook it up to the battery, but here we go. So this little cable here too, it goes on the clip. So that just lets the battery know that everything's in place and you can charge, and hopefully nobody's gonna get hurt. And then there's one cable that goes right in the back. It's hard to see, but it's in the center. It goes into that silver plate, that rectangular silver plate. And that's really it. It's not that hard to take this apart. It's not that hard to put it back together. But we're gonna go ahead and put it up on this table here and mess with it. We're gonna discharge all the batteries and see how much charge they keep. Thanks for watching. Bye.